Hello everyone, today is Wednesday, December the 6th, and today we saw the Bank of Canada increase the prime rate for its the overnight rate, for its seventh consecutive time by 50 basis points, bringing the overnight rate to 4.25, which would bring the average prime lending rate in Canada to 6.45. What's going on out there, Joe?
I feel like we're just saying the same thing over and over again, Josh, but the reality is the Bank of Canada is still battling inflation. So inflationary numbers really haven't come down to the level that obviously they need them to. We've kind of seen almost a stagnant line on inflation. So we're, still over 6%, kind of just below 7%, and obviously much too high. Part of the challenge is we've got a little bit of conflicting policy happening here in this country. So you've got a government that's still spending a lot, and that's inflationary. And you have a Bank of Canada that's got the message out there that we need to battle inflation and bring rates up to do that.
Well, and this was a pretty bold message today. They typically don't increase it in December, with the holidays right around the corner.
Right.
But they're showing how serious they are. Like, they want to fight this. I think the target's around 2% for inflation.
Yeah.
You said we're over 6.
Yeah. So, they're obviously a long way from getting there. But the same message is clear that this is our only task. We're going to go full-fledged on this. I guess one thing to keep in mind is the market was kind of predicting somewhere between 1.25 point raise on the overnight rate. So they haven't done anything totally out of line to that. Some were wondering if they would only do a quarter now, then maybe do another one come January. So I think the real questioning that we have to have now when we look at where is this going to go, are we near the end of rate increases, is what do they do in January? Do they wait and see? Do they kind of hold things? I think the message is pretty clear that they're not necessarily fully done yet, but we're likely not going to see the same level of increases going forward. At least that's what the messaging is saying with this last announcement.
What people are hoping for. Yeah, I know there were a lot of people just in these last couple of days chatting with people in the industry, and a lot of them were hoping for the 50 basis points. Tear the Band-Aid off, right? Let's get ahead of this. Let's stop this. So here's hoping some good news starts to come out of this. There is some good news, though.
Good news.
Yes, great news.
Okay.
This just in. If I look at the bond market today, yet again, which the 5-year fixed mortgages are based off of, what the bond market is down. And what does that mean, Joe?
Yeah, so this is a good news story. We've seen rate increases happening for quite some time. But although we're seeing the overnight rate go up, that's impacting prime rate, that's impacting the variable rate, the adjustable rate mortgages, lines of credit. Fixed rates are priced off the bond market, as you said, Josh, and they have actually come down a little bit in the last couple of weeks. So you can now secure 5-year fixed pricing a lot of times under 5%. So that's a good news story. We haven't been there for a while.
Yeah, it's the first time in a long time, it feels like, that we've said under 5. We were seeing the 5-year fixed creep into the mid-5s for a little while there. So to have them come down below 5 is really, it's nice. It's a nice sign.
Yeah.
It's interesting, though. We have prime going up and the fixed rates coming down. It's an interesting landscape out there. Never a better time than now to contact a mortgage broker.
Yeah, so there's a couple things I think we should talk on that. The first is, if you have a pre-approval already and you did it a month ago, it's worth revisiting, because if you had a locked-in fixed rate a month ago, there's potential that you have a better one now, which not only will give you a better rate, better pricing on your home, which is great, but also boost up your buying power, because you're having the stress test applied to a lesser mortgage rate. So that's a good news story. I also think people are starting to get a little more acclimatized to the rate environment we're in. We have a great rate special out right now at 4.74 for 5-year fixed money, and we had a client email today thrilled at their amazing rate, which I haven't heard that on on fixed rates for quite some time.
Right,
so
right.
It's not all bad news with this rate hike.
No, absolutely. Well, thank you very much for tuning in. Please, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out to us. We'd love the opportunity to connect with you and help guide you through this turbulent time.
You bet.